Hey everybody, welcome to another very special episode. You may notice that I am a postage stamp in the corner of the screen. That's because today's focus is not on me. It's on the changes that Set 20 brought to existing virtual cards. Unlike most episodes, this is not going to be scripted. I'm going to do my best as a mid-level player to share the changes and reasons for those changes. This isn't meant to be editorial or review, just my attempt to talk through the set. Hence why I'm literally wearing my PC hat today. Let's get started. So first of all, we have BB9E deploys originally he was deploys -1 to a site. BB8 same site as BB8 cancels game text of BB8 and or rows at same site. During your move phase, you may place in used pile to break cover of undercover spies and immune to restraining bolt. And sorry about the mess. Also, big thing, he was 1/2 or 5.5 as his destiny. Now his destiny is down to 4.5. If with the first order leader at battleground site, force drain +1 here. During your move phase, may place in used pile to break cover, so he still has the undercover text. Nabrin leads may not transfer cards to or from here, immune to restraining bolt. So you got some extra text. But big thing is that he no longer has that weird destiny, which people were taking advantage of with forced servitude and another card that we'll talk about in a minute, I believe, got changed. And then also no longer does anything with BB8 and Rose because they got changed as well. So now we have MAUL. Before, never deploys to a battleground. Opponent may not cancel your destiny draws once per turn. May add 1 to a just drawn battle or weapon destiny. Once per turn, may subtract 1 from a just drawn battle or weapon destiny. So you used to be able to add and subtract. Now, once per turn, may add or subtract 1 from a just drawn battle destiny or weapon destiny. So, blaster weapon destiny. So, a little bit of limitation there. Battle destiny draws may not be canceled where you have a non-unique blaster. Kind of, he's pretty straightforward. Just kind of got toned down in various areas. Just obviously, an incremental hit to Shadow Collective decks, but also a hit to stuff like the Bat Maul deck and other random decks that used him. Palpatine Emperor Return. He was never deploys or moves, even if carried to a location with a light side icon. Now it's except to a Episode 7 location without a light side icon. And the rest of the text is the same. Basically, a big part of the tweak set seems to be to hit Bring Him Before Me. Now this guy can't be played in Bring Him Before Me. You'll have to play Foreseer or Emperor Palpatine. An effective demonstration. This is a helper for Sikfa. It was originally attempts to blow away Alderaan or +5. If Alderaan has been blown away, adds a light side icon to the Death Star. An opponent's total battle destiny is -1. Once per game, may upload a super laser. The change here is that opponent's battle destinies are no longer, or total battle destiny is no longer -1. So just a minor change there. Keep an eye out for this card because this is one of those that you might not remember that there was a change, and your opponent might have the old card if they're playing in person. A great tactician creates plans. So this is the Thrawn objective. I'm going to do my best because I really don't know Thrawn very well. For remainder, so deploys Lothal System, Advanced Projects Laboratory, Imperial Complex, and Thrawn's Art Collection, which is the same. It was for remainder of the game, you have to deploy Episode 1 or Episode 7 cards with ability. or presence droids, or any admiral except Thrawn. For remainder of game, you may not deploy Chiranu or Episode 1 or Episode 7 cards with ability or presence droids. And then once per turn may download a battleground system or a site to Lothal. So that once per turn download was just while the front side is up. Now it's for the remainder of game. And also there's some additional admirals that you can deploy with Thrawn, which kind of makes sense because this is supposed to be the Lothal era Thrawn. This is not old Thrawn trilogy Thrawn deck. So while this side up, Imperial Star Destroyers deploy -1, -3 if Chimera. That was there already. And flip this card during the deploy phase. If Thrawn's at a battleground and 2 or more artwork cards are on table, and that piece is the same. So the changes, basically the changes, the fewer character restrictions and the battleground site or battleground system or site to Lothal can happen all game. Route tier operations. Deploy route tier system. It is now deployed the set 20 route tier system. Spaceport sites are immune to always thinking with your stomach. He hasn't come back yet. And Unita. Now it says non-virtual set 18 Unita, so you can play the other Unita, the virtual one. You may not play. Do they have a code clearance? Which I think is a big one. Your first generation is +1 at each route tier site, which is the same. Once per turn, may download a site to route tier, and the same. So big difference is you can't play code clearance and non-episode or non-set 18 Unita. What is code clearance? I think that's a Coruscant icon, which would make sense. Deploy on table. Unique Imperial's ability equals 3 or forfeit +3. If opponent just retrieved force using an interrupt or routine effect, place that card here. Opponent's force retrieval is reduced by X. So it's, I don't think people were playing that card, but it's that one. I don't think people were playing that card, but I guess good to know that they can't play it now. Any hit to route tier ops is a good thing in my opinion. Okay, Twin Suns. So it looks like both sides of Twin Suns changed. Still deploying Tatooine system in a non Jabba's Palace Tatooine site. Oh, it's a Tatooine site, so it doesn't have to be a battleground. That's actually huge. Okay, so that is a change. Is that really the only change? I feel like I'm. Well, I'll come back to this if there's an additional, because I don't know why they would have sometimes changed the flip side and not. Oh, there's a new image. That's the change. Wow, I'm blind. That's a cool image. This is hard stuff. Okay, so Lothal, dark side. So light side text is going to be what you control opponent. Opponent occupies with an admiral or Lothal converted. Gain 1 light side icon. Oh, well, you control. So if I control it, or if opponent occupies with an admiral, or if Lothal is converted, it gains a light side icon, and that is a change from if Ghost is here, it's force drain +1, and if no rebels, it's force drain -1. It's also not a battleground. And while you occupy with an admiral, it gains a light side icon on the new one. While you control at related battleground sites you control with an Imperial, your force trains are +1. So yeah, it's just a totally different card now. All right. Advanced Projects Laboratory. If you control with a rebel, force drain +1, opponent may not cancel your force drains here. So changed, it's not a force drain +1 for light side anymore. And then once return, TIE Defender project, price or Thrawn. So now it pulls price. Yeah, all these Thrawn objective things, like Thrawn objective just totally goes over my head, but these are obviously fundamental changes to how the deck works. So, you know, if you're looking for another deck to try. Imperial Enforcement. This is another ROPS card. Deploy on, or I mean, I guess you can play with other stuff, but this is actually a pretty big change, I think. Deploy on table, and you got to have Imperial characters. It kind of changes the wording there. But if you just drew an Imperial for Destiny, you can take it into hand to do a redraw. That piece stays. But the change is that if you win a battle, you used to be able to retrieve a force, and that text is not there anymore. So Insignificant Rebellion Virtual. So this is the card that lets you swap a card in hand with the same card type in Lost Pile. And then now, okay, so this is why they changed the code clearance thing on the objective, because it used to be on the effect that you couldn't use code clearance. So that's why people weren't playing it. Okay. I apparently don't know ROPS as well as I think I do either. And then ROPS, it's on table, blah, blah, blah. The big thing here is that if your Lost Interrupt except GIC just revealed, placed it out of play. So we're not going to have the issue of as many of the Lost Interrupts specifically getting played over and over with ROPS as we've had in the past. Silence is Golden. This is the other piece of the Forced Servitude package. The only change here is that Silence is Golden used to download Forced Servitude, and now it is canceled. So, yeah, so no more Forced Servitude with Silence is Golden. Basically, Silence is Golden increased the destiny of the droids. So, you know, before we were having a 6.5 destiny, and Forced Servitude lets you lose droids to satisfy their forfeit value. So yeah, it was a messy little season. This is probably the most that package of BB9 Silence is Golden Forced Servitude is probably even if there wasn't a tweak set, there would have been some errata surrounding that. A Dark Time for the Rebellion and Tarkin's Orders. This is one of those cards that does 700 things. So let's see. Still can't cancel the Battle Destiny draws. Now it can't cancel Weapon Destiny draws. Punishes your opponent for having for not having Battlegrounds out, looks like. It's another canceller for Nabran leads, so we're just gonna have extra cancelers for Nabran leads. I mean, this is just going to be one of those cards. Probably if you were playing it before, it's still worth playing it. And just remember what the new card does, because it's a giant paragraph, and I don't feel like comparing and contrasting every word. Sith Fury. This is a change that I didn't like that much, but I understand. So before, if you drew a character for Destiny, you could play it, get the character in hand, and redraw the Destiny. Now you either take the card into hand or redraw the Destiny. I mean, one of the big complaints that people have about modern Star Wars CCG is definitely too much Destiny redraw, and this is a card that any deck could play. They also changed up the Lost function a little bit to have it line up with Jedi Levitation. Once per game, may use 4 force to take a character in hand from Lost Pile. And then we blanked Macro Scan. Macro Scan was another one of the cards that was in some of the BB9 decks, and sort of combined with Forlom Virtual, and it kind of replaced Drop when Drop got blanked. So that is all of our dark side cards. Let's go into light side cards in just a moment. Welcome back, everyone. So before I start talking about BB-8 and the rest of the light side cards, I don't think math works this way based on my viewers, but if you watch my YouTube videos but you don't listen to my audio podcasts, you should probably be listening to my audio podcasts. You can find them at kendallcast.ninja, or whatever app you use, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever. You can find everything I do under Kendallcast in those apps, or just the Star Wars CCG content is all under the Bad Deck Breakdowns feed. So just check that out. And if you really like the stuff that I do, you can go to patreon.com/KendallCast and donate some, a couple bucks. It's the end of the year, whatever. I don't have enough patrons at the moment to really do Patreon exclusive content or anything. But if I did, any money that the Patreon gets would go directly to producing more content. So now back to the show. BB-8. So he used to wait a second. Okay, yeah, so he used to do direct damage. Now he makes force drains +1. They kind of made a mirror BB9 with a resistance leader at a battleground site, force drain +1 here. So it has to be a resistance leader. It used to be just a resistance character, and it was a direct damage. So that's a pretty big nerf. During your control phase, you can go to use pile to break cover of an undercover spy. So that's actually kind of good. You don't have to play Corran Horn, I guess, but I like playing Corran Horn. Did you do that before? No, he didn't do that before. He did a weird thing with capturing that nobody used. And then cancels Ellis, or limits Ellis or whatever, like Ellis hate. Which Ellis Elrot's really good right now, so these extra little things don't hurt at all. So Master Yoda, this is a big one for Yoda commuting. So now can't deploy maintenance or permanent weapon cards. And immunity to attrition is limited to less than 4. Doesn't have the Dagobah Luke text anymore, but that doesn't really matter. So those are the big ones. You can't play Lando with Vibro Axe, and your immunity to attrition is limited to less than 4. Of course, that's really less than 6 because your attrition gets reduced with Yoda muting. Master Qui-GON, an old friend, can't deploy Rebels, which you couldn't do before, and no Jedi except Jedi Council members. So no Old Man Luke. Really, are there any Lukes that you can play with that then? I think there's no Lukes you can play. Yeah, because all Lukes would either be Rebel or Jedi. There's no alien Lukes or Republic Lukes. And the Jedi are Destiny +1, which they were before. The Jedi Council members were before. Still get the bonus for everybody communing. And the the little card advantage thing. So deployment changes. Basically, you can't play Jedi Master Luke. Rose, she used to retrieve some force. Now what does she do? Still can save Finn. You can have her get hit when somebody else gets targeted. Meh. There is another. So now it used to be that you couldn't deploy Death Star 2 Luke. But now everybody wants to play Death Star 2 Luke. So again, this is another hit to bring him before me. Basically you can use Leia instead of Luke for anything. Cell 2187. So just like the Thrawn objective got some help, the Rescue the Princess Virtual is getting some help. I'm sure it's important if you're playing that thing. Oh my gosh, this is just like that dark side card. If you were playing Free Ride, you probably should be playing this. Obviously, big changes because there's twice as much text on the card. It's one of those cards that does so much stuff that you may as well play it because probably something will come up. Jedi Levitation is the same change as Sith Fury, where you used to get to take the card into hand and redraw. Now it's one or the other. The Force is strong in my family. This is probably important, so let's dive deep into it. Okay, so still deploys at the start of the game. My father has it. Anakin and Episode 1 Obi-Wan. I have it. Luke and Set 1 Obi-Wan. You have that power. 2 is Rey and Episode 7 Luke. Set 16 Anakin is deploy -1. Total force generation is +1. Can't deploy boss NASA chambers or Jedi except Yoda and the chosen characters. If you just initiated a battle involving a Skywalker, or if opponent's Sidious just forfeited from table, may retrieve 1 force. Your lightsabers may not be stolen. So that's the big text. That's the big change. Your lightsabers may not be stolen. Your thoughts dwell on your mother. Anakin, my father has it. Deck. It revolves around Anakin's lightsaber, and recurring Anakin's lightsaber. So Grievous being able to steal that lightsaber is basically, I think, the biggest reason that deck is not everywhere. So that's my little bit of editorializing. This was a really interesting change. City in the Clouds. Let's try to figure out what changed here. Okay, so first of all, there is a change in the image. So if we can't find a change on the first side, then that's a change. But it looks like there is a change on the first side. Deploy Bespin System and a Cloud City Battleground, and may deploy Weather Vane. So now you can deploy Weather Vane where you couldn't before, and that's a neat little card. Download a Cloud City Battleground site. Flip if you control 2. And occupy Bespin System. An opponent controls no Cloud City sites. So same text there. You just you can download Weather Vane. Downloads Cloud City Celebration. You use 2 force to upload an interrupt. Once per turn, may move your characters react to a battle or force train in a Cloud City site. Flip this if, again, like the other. No, it's if opponent controls more Cloud City sites than you. So what's the change? I don't see a change on the flip side. It's this is like a freaking challenge. You did need, and this is probably true of the dark side one as well. Let me just jump back to that. I'll bet. So before, You needed Suns Down and I Will Find Them Quickly Master. Now you just need Suns Down, and that's why they changed the image. Now you just need Leia of Alderaan. You don't need Cloud City Sabacc. This is a challenge. Okay. Old Allies was already one card, so let's see what they changed there. Still starting the game the same. Now you can't deploy combined fleet action. They cleaned up the wording because it had, while this side up can download a Jakku location on both sides. And now it's just for remainder of game. Still reduces the force to 1. Yeah, everything else is the same. So the changes there. Oh my gosh, this is mentally taxing. Hopefully it's at least marginally entertaining, and maybe I can clean this up so I can cut out some of the thinking. So can't play combined fleet action, and they cleaned up the other text. Like, yeah, this is why I'm doing this show though, because like some of these changes are just so hard to spot. So no idea. I think the change is pretty straightforward. You can, instead of being able to download any Rebel starship except Home One or the Falcon, you can only download Rogue One, a Corvette, or a Scarif site. Big thing here is you can't download Bright Hope, which was very popular to be used. On the flip side of Legend, what's changing on there? Place Luke out of play. So before, okay, I think this is the big change. I'll have to double check. It looks like there's some text that got removed. For remainder of battle, weapons may not be fired. So both players can't fire weapons. Before, when you did your big Legend flip, you could fire weapons, but Darkside could not. So immunity to attrition is now capped at less than 6 instead of less than 5. That's actually pretty huge. Okay, made force strains +1 instead of it being a direct damage when you force strain with 2 resistance characters, and still have the redraw. So, yeah, minor changes there, but they might add up to something. Detention block corridor. This is another Leia. I don't know. It's got to do with Rescue the Princess. I just don't know Rescue the Princess, and my brain is fried right now, so we're gonna skip that one. Anakin's funeral pyre. So first of all, it can deploy not as a starting location. There's another. Not causing Luke to be lost is irrelevant now. And there's Anakin communing thing. It says if Anakin's communing, you can initiate battles for free. So if you have this deck and this card in a deck that has Anakin communing, technically I think this opens up a lot of stuff. You can do stuff with the new Falcon, and it has communing in the text, so you could technically start it as a communing site. Different. There's a number of potential things with this location. It's kind of interesting. Ewok Village. This does something with Prophecy of the Force, makes it a 2/1. Force Strain -1 for Darkside. And hurts. Yeah. I mean, it's a helper for Hitco. Looks like. Light side Lothal. I think this is a big change. Makes This Is My Ship immune to sense. And it uploads This Is My Ship. So before 0 Hour was having to run like 3 or 4 copies of This Is My Ship to know that they would get it. And then also, while the Ghost is piloted here, Destiny draws were -1, and now they're not. So Yeah, that's going to change the dynamic of 0 hour quite a bit. And that's all the cards. All right, so this was probably, I don't know, this was probably a pretty long episode. I'll try my best to clean it up. I apologize for mumbling and stuff, stammering or stuttering, whatever. But thanks everyone for watching. I really hope that this was informative. I'll post it. I'll post the PowerPoint so you can just see the cards side by side. I think that'll help a lot of people maybe. Anyway, we'll see you next time. Until next time, good luck, have fun, no reverts. I guess I don't usually say that. Until next time.